This podcast is brought to you by Kiwi Design, the leader in MetaQuest and VR accessories. And now you can deck out your device while supporting the podcast. The MetaQuest 2 is a great headset, but do you ever feel things could be a bit more comfortable? Well, we have the solution for you. With lens protectors, controller grips, face covers, head straps, link cables, headset stands, and more, including my two personal favorites, the top version controller grips with added weight and an extended handle, and the Kiwi upgraded Elite strap. Let's be real, we've all whacked our controller. Don't be the guy messaging Oculus support for your own mistake or waiting weeks for an out-of-stock controller. Visit the link in our show notes to prepare yourself today. After visiting the link in our show notes, make sure to use the promo code Ruff Talk VR at checkout, all one word, to take full advantage of your savings. And make sure to click the link in our show notes so the podcast gets credit and you help support us. Remember, whatever you need, Kiwi has you covered. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. Today we're joined with two guests that I'm so excited to hear about. I love seeing the industry of VR grow, not just our favorite games, new hardware. It's these small things like leakers in the industry. Now we're having VR conventions pop up. It's really cool to see the whole industry grow. So today we're joined with Nate and Hala of VAL Esports. You guys are having your first convention come up. So do you mind to tell our listeners a little bit more about who you guys are and exactly what's going on with this new event?
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, by way of introduction, my name is Nate McCollum. I handle the developer relations, business development, project management. Basically, anything here that needs to get done, I'm usually involved with in some way.
And I'm Hala. I am the esports specialist at VAL. So I run our leagues and tournaments, and then I also do our social media. So if anybody's in any of our Discords or messages, our Twitter or anything, you're going to be hearing from me.
Yep. So, if you want, I could just go into the company history and bring you up to speed on where we're at right now.
Yeah, I think that's a great spot.
Perfect.
Yeah, for sure. So we started as a VR arcade back in 2016, right here in Salt Lake City. Got a little bit of investor money from a group called Boost VC, and very shortly after that, our CEO was out at GDC and met the Beat Saber developers before they'd ever even sold a single copy of the game. And it's hard to consider now, but at the time they were so financially strapped that they couldn't afford a booth at GDC, so they were demoing the game in the basement of an off-site nightclub where the AC had broken, so the headsets were just drenched in sweat. No one wanted to get into them. But he walked up and he's just, he introduced himself and he's like, I think you guys have a great idea here. You've got great leaderboard integration. You ever consider doing a tournament? And they hadn't. And one thing led to another, and so we, as a company, hosted the first and, to my knowledge, only LBE official Beat Saber tournament. And when we went to press, we were expecting about 50 arcades optimistically, and it ended up being 168 across 24 countries. So it was a big deal. Which, an ego stroke here, I'd like to think that we helped get Beat Saber to where they're at, but anyway, from there we got noticed by HTC, HP, did some work with Oculus. So like we did, tournaments for like Tower Tag, Archangel Hellfire. Beginning of 2020, we actually beat out ESL for the contract to roll out Pistol Whip, which was a huge moment of company pride. But then 2020 happened, and VR arcades are not super COVID friendly. So we kind of had to pivot our business model, and we started going from, in-person type stuff where it was like small one-off tournaments to bigger multi-studio at-home events. So like our first event that we did was our VR Fit Summit, where it was basically all these different titles that were focused on fitness. That's actually where I joined the team, was about, the summer of 2020. So, which, that event was a decent success. Oculus picked it up on their blog posts and stuff and a few other things, but from there we're just like, let's start expanding this out further. Let's bring in more influencers and everything. And so we, with our winter games, we started doing that, and we just saw our participation and everything explode. Like 2-3 times what we had for the Fit Summit, just because we started utilizing influencers. And so we found a real big hole in the market for influencer marketing. And so we've been doing a lot of that in addition to our events, just to kind of help keep the lights on. But our big focus has always been trying to push VR esports more front and center. And so we've done, 4 events total now at this point that have all been at home and stuff. We've got a solid team. We've gone from 7 that we had with the Fit Summit up to a team of like 25 now. and we're tackling our first big in-person multi-studio type event. Where we're going to have like esports, game demonstrations. We're going to be doing some live streaming with influencers and such. It's going to be a big kind of it's a big roll of the dice for us, but we're really optimistic on how things can pan out. So
And this is going to be held in Salt Lake?
yeah, Salt Lake
Yep.
City from November 3rd to the 5th.
So coming right up pretty fast. I mean, how long has
Yep.
it been in the works too? I imagine something like this isn't just snap your fingers and all of a sudden it's put together.
Oh, that's what you'd think.
You'd think that, yeah.
We kind of started, our CEO kind of started talking about it March, April, just after GDC, after talking with the guys at Between Realities about doing something in person. And from there, it just kind of went on. And in August is when we really started like dedicating ourselves to it, which August is not that long ago. So we've been
No.
crazy, insanely busy, but it really is pulling together. And I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's a testament to just the sheer tenacity and skill of the team that we've been able to throw something like this together to the point where it does it looks like it's a professional actual convention and everything
Is
in
this
such
going
a
to be
short
in
time span.
Is this going to be held in a convention center or
So we have a 22,000 square foot space at the Gateway Mall here in Salt Lake. So 22,000 square feet, not extremely big for a convention, but at the same time, this for something first of its kind like this, it's with the amount of people that are showing up in terms of studios and everything, we're fairly confident that it should be enough space. So
no,
Yeah.
22,000, that's not super small, so
I'd rather see a stuffed, a packed center than,
yeah, big spaces
yeah,
and
20,000 square feet, but it's a
looking
little,
empty.
Yeah. So I think that small one, especially for your first one, you're not exactly sure how things are going to go. I think that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, so we're optimistic that we can pack it a bit. So we've got several booths of studios that are there going to be participating. We've got live demonstrations for like Among Us VR and several other things going on. Um, but yeah, so we can get into that a bit more if you want in terms of like more specific details. Hala can answer that.
Yeah, I'd be curious what studios. I mean, you don't have to mention them all or any that might still be in the works or whatever, but if there's any that you feel like mentioning, absolutely feel free.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think like the first big standout one is obviously like Among Us VR. That's kind of the one that really like solidified we are doing this event because Among Us doesn't come out until November 11th, and so our event is actually going to be the first ever live streams of it. And if for anyone that didn't get the chance to be in the beta, myself included, it's going to be their first chance to really see the game and try it out. So that's going to be awesome. Then we also have studios like The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, Retribution. So on Halloween Day, we're going to be live streaming with some of our influencers, some sneak peeks at that game as well, because that's also unreleased. Then we have games like After the Fall, Knock, Superfly, Project Demigod that you're either going to be able to try in person. You can watch your favorite influencers play. Some of them you'll be able to meet the devs of. We have devs coming out from Project Demigod, Sail, Superfly, Monkey See, Monkey Doo. Amy from The Walking Dead is going to be there. She's not going to have a booth though, so you're going to have to kind of like Where's Waldo her. But yeah, it's going to be a great experience, and there's even more games than that are going to be involved.
No, I mean, when we found out where it was located, we were instantly like, I'm a little jelly about this.
Yeah, how'd you
It
guys?
sounds like a damn good event.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's a hell of a list of
And
developers.
it's a first
stuff.
of, it's like everything's going to be, you're kind of laying the foundation for what's going to happen next year and the year after that. So
Well, and for coming together really from August now, I mean, that's a hell of a roster for the notice. So, I mean, how did you guys end up deciding on Salt Lake City, Utah as well? What was is that where you guys are out of right now?
That's where we're based out of. So I mean,
Yeah,
we used to have more people in Utah than we currently do. That when we were a team of 7, like 5 of them were here, and now there's about 5 of us here still. But we're spread all over the country and have a few employees internationally. So
yeah. So we're gonna have like 5 people fly out to Utah, and then we're gonna have the team that's here working on it. But yeah, that's where the company was founded.
okay, beautiful area. I've actually been there.
Yeah.
And then right outside the
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say anything bad about Salt Lake City. It's always one of those like
Well, it's
hidden
one of
gems.
those when you go to Utah and you look around, you go, I get it. They got some nice mountains, nice scenery. It's
Oh, just
really-
wait till you get to the canyons in fall. That's the colors that you see there are just amazing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Oh
See,
yeah, I'm up in the mountains today. It's beautiful. It's supposed to snow today, so everyone hope I can make it home after the snow, but
I
it's
don't
gonna
want
be
it to
gorgeous.
snow. I don't
Yeah.
want it to snow.
doesn't it? It does say Ski Utah on the license plate, right?
It does.
Oh
we
yeah.
we have some fantastic powder that comes in here.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
So-
at least if you make the trip out, it's not just VR. At least you're gonna have some nice, beautiful scenery
Absolutely.
along with it.
Yep.
Nice city.
Not sure there'll be skiing or snowboarding available at that
No.
point. It's a little early in the season.
Hey,
No, we'll play. We're praying for the nicest weather possible for your
Yeah.
event.
yeah, get
Yeah.
a lot of foot traffic,
Appreciate
everything
that.
like that.
Yeah.
And how many days is this event again? I think you referenced it right in the beginning, but just for our listeners and stuff, what's the schedule for this event like?
So technically we're running 6 days, but there's only 3 days that are open to the public. So the 3rd through the 5th are the days that we'll be doing stuff, like with the booths and public interaction and everything else. The 31st through the 2nd those are going to be the days that we're doing all of our filming with the content creators and such.
But you
So-
can on the 31st catch the Walking Dead stream.
Yeah.
And that'll be I want to say at 5 p.m. Eastern, but I'm not going to guarantee that. You'll be able to find it on our socials.
Either way, I think those videos are gonna blow up.
Oh yeah.
This will be the real. I mean, and you got influencers playing it too, so I'm sure they're hyping it up already.
Well, I mean, come on, that's
Yeah.
a
Well,
extremely
and,
hard game.
and we've got a pretty big roster of influencers that are going to be jumping in on it. So
Do you want to list off maybe some of the people who are there in case one of our listeners go, "Oh, that's my favorite."
I'm going.
I mean, we have Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis. He's flying in. Gamertag is also flying in. So we've got and Tigress. So we got 3 coming in from the UK
And
for this.
Cheersy, 4.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Cheersy. So that's 4. We've got like LS Toast and Techman Jew.
Cass and Shari coming
Cass and
in.
Shart, yeah.
Genghis. I'm trying to think. Tiny Beats.
Bathia,
Bathia.
He's okay.
and a few others. We've got some local people that are coming in as well. But we've got a fairly Soul Fox. That's another one. I don't know why I'm blanking on him because he's literally in the trailer.
Sometimes when things are right in front of you, it's the easiest to miss.
Yeah, well, we've been working on this for so long. It's just everything's just all kind of blended together at this point. So,
Oh, I can
but no,
only
we've got a big roster coming out for this. We've also got a bunch of local influencers coming out as well. And it's going to be a great event for networking between developers and influencers and between people that want to meet their favorite VR ones. We've also got several VR podcasts coming out. So like Between Realities is going to be there. Alex told us last night that he's going to be flying out with Skiva because Skiva was going to come out with the Q2C crew, and not to be promoting competition on your show or anything.
No, it's
No,
all
there's no
good.
competition.
No, it's a reason for you guys to come out.
So yeah, the Q2C crew is going to be out there. Eric and all them. VR with Jasmine is going to be there. I think Adam Bombody is going to be there as well. I'm waiting for confirmation on that, but it sounds like she's going to. At least she's heavily leaning that direction. So we've got several people that are going to be doing stuff live at the event in terms of coverage. So yeah, I mean, a lot of interest in this.
Yeah, no, I
like the structure. I mean, it's a win for everybody.
hmm And we have probably some of the most anti-competitive people with that kind of stuff. There's no competition or anything. I want us all to.
No. I want
us
everyone
all
to
to
win.
succeed. Yes.
VR
Oh.
is still such a small, tight-knit community that there's really not a lot of. You don't see kind of the cutthroat stuff that you see with other like big
Correct.
podcasting sort of arenas.
There's no room for it. I think if you start to do like that, nobody's going to grow.
Yeah.
It's the only way that we're going to actually see this
I
industry
think
go
it's
up.
cool to see so many people going out.
So, nonetheless, if somebody's interested in actually, going, attending, and checking this out, what's the cost for the event?
I mean,
Yeah,
Hala,
so-
you're handling tickets, so
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go to newrealityxr.com, and that'll get you to the tickets. So tickets are they're $60 if you want a 3-day ticket that is going to allow you to do esports all 3 days, come in all 3 days, or you can get a 1-day ticket for $12. But also we can hook you guys up with a special discount code. And if you do Ruff Talk VR in the checkout, then you can get half off any ticket that you want.
Ooh, so for any of our listeners in the Utah area all around, I would definitely take full advantage. That's a pretty. That's
Those
very.
prices on face value
I was
were.
going to say
I was
that's
like,
extremely reasonable.
I
Yeah.
was like 60. Is that going to be for the day? Like 3 days. That's no. You guys are really doing a good job with the financial end of it. Then
Yeah, and I'll
Yeah,
definitely.
we want to keep it accessible for sure.
And I'll throw the link for that right in the show notes. So if anybody goes, oh, what was that URL? You don't want to go backwards in the podcast nonstop. Just go check out the show notes, the episode description. You'll see the link right in there. And be sure to use, Ruff Talk VR.
so. Is there any intention to take this outside the Salt Lake area once you've gotten your feet wet with going, okay, we've done our first one, now do we start picking like Boston?
Yeah, is this the beta test for a national market?
I'd push for Boston.
Oh, always.
So at this point, not particularly, because one of the things that we've noticed with doing our previous events is that it's hard to do events like this and have consistent developers show up. There's always just a lot of turnover. And so if we started doing like more than one of these a year, for example, it would be really difficult to keep, to bring in new studios and such, because it is a big expense. Um, and then we're so kind of centrally located here in Salt Lake for just everything that we do. We, with all the connections we have here in terms of the places that we know and everything else, trying to take it to a new market where we, especially if we don't have an employee there, it adds layers of complexity that at the current time we just don't want to deal with. So
Yeah,
as
I
of
don't
right,
think we're opposed to it, but it's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen next year. But I don't
yeah.
think. But I think eventually, yeah, if it keeps growing, if it keeps going, then we'd love to. It's just a.
So it's safe to assume then, if next year comes and you're doing it, Salt Lake City is where we could look forward to seeing it.
I
Oh yeah.
think Salt Lake is going to be kind of the flagship one of what we, where we'd hold it like every year for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
I like that though. You kind of get that local brand awareness with it too. Like people start to know, all right, it's
Well, and it's also it's also good for the economy as it continues to grow. More people come in, more people stay in hotels and go out to dinner. So usually conventions are really good for the cities.
Yeah, I think this event's going to be a success, but just at the rate of the industry
I
growing.
like the networking aspect.
Yeah,
I
but this
think
will probably be
huge.
the smallest year of it ever, just because next year VR is going to be even bigger.
Yeah.
Next year VR is going to be even bigger.
It has
so
nowhere to go but up.
So that's
Oh yeah.
freaking
That's the
awesome.
goal at least.
Yeah.
And so it's an esport event. I know you mentioned some of the games that you guys are going to be demoing with, open to the public, such as like, Among Us, which I'll agree. I'm super excited for. Full disclosure, I've not partaken in the beta at all. So
I won't say or deny anything.
So I've got the untested Among Us eyes. So that's definitely super exciting from a spectator view. What are some of like the more competitive esports events going on too?
Yeah.
So do you want to take it or do you want me to take it?
I can do it.
I like
Okay.
So we've got two big esports events going on. We have Epic Roller Coasters, which is kind of it sounds a little unique for sure, but we're doing competitions of the racing mode that has recently been updated, and so we're really excited about that. Really excited to be working with the dev team on that. And then we're also going to have Population 1 tournament going on. And so that's going to be our two big esports events. And, you can play other games, but those two, we're going to have tournaments. We're going to have big prize pools for them that include both cash and VR products to get some accessories on your setup. So those are our two main ones that we're really excited for.
I want to clarify. When she says big, we're talking like $1,000 total. So we're not talking like Overwatch kind of level big price pool.
Okay, yeah. Big for the space, big for VR.
I would say $1,000 cash prize is pretty
for the
pretty
world of
damn good.
VR. Yes,
Yes.
big is it's
Just
in
to
the eyes of the
clarify.
beholder. Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah. Just to be clear, big for one might be small.
No, the Pop One ringers are going to come out. There'll be people who fly in to probably play that one.
Yeah, we love Pop One. We play it all the time. Are we exceptionally good?
I wouldn't enter a tournament.
No, but we love it.
Even
It's a
for
great
over-
game.
This was like one of
That's-
the first
we're
games we
hoping-
got.
We're hoping to we're doing a kind of scoring system that hopefully it means anyone can be able to participate and have some fun, even if they're not necessarily the highest level Pop 1 players. I'll admit I am not the highest level Pop 1 player, so I still want to make sure that people can have fun. So Yeah, but there's definitely, I've heard there's some people planning to fly out for this
Yep.
and compete in that.
Yeah,
That's
and I know
awesome.
there's a ton in the area also because
Mhm.
I'll see the posts in the community for Pop One.
All the time. That Midwest, man, those people.
They're gonna
are
come
good
in
at-
costume too. I can already it's gonna be a good convention.
So you said that you're going to do a little bit of a unique scoring feature for it. Are you able to talk a little bit about that, or are you kind of keeping that more under wraps for?
Yeah. So it's not too complex. It's kind of, I've competed in some Fortnite tournaments. Again, not the best at it, but I've I've done it. And so it's kind of scored like those are, where you play through a couple matches. We're gonna do metro matches. At the event, and for every kill that you get, for every amount of, however long you survive, you get a certain amount of points for those, and then you play 2 or 3 matches, and then the people with the highest scores move on to a finals, and they play against each other in there. And so that way, if you die first off the bat, you're not automatically just lost. You can have another try, get another go.
All right, that's fair.
That makes sense. And I'm guessing it's going to be full squads of 3.
We're doing solos actually, just
Ooh.
for sign up ease.
Yeah, for simplicity's sake, because we didn't have stuff out like in terms of registration for a bit, we just figured solo was the easiest way to go.
No,
Yeah, and
that's
this
fair.
way, if somebody comes day of, they're shopping around the mall, they see the event, they're like, "What's that?" They can come in and sign up. Don't need to find a squad.
So if one wanted to partake in the tournament, what's the cost associated with that?
Yeah, so Pop One, for right now, Pop One is just scheduled to be on Saturday. So you actually only need to buy a 1-day ticket for Saturday. If you want to compete in an epic roller coasters, or we might end up adding a 3-day Pop One option, then you do need a 3-day ticket. So and no, you can't just buy 3 1-day tickets, because if you have a 3-day ticket, that basically proves us like, yeah, you're gonna come back all 3 days. So if you move on in the tournament, then you're gonna be there to compete in the tournament. So
Nope, that's fair. Again, the price is not,
No, it's a bargain, especially with that coupon code Ruff Talk VR.
and you could win $1,000.
Yeah. No, I
More
love,
than pay for a stop.
right?
$1,000 and product, because both tournaments are being sponsored by Albika, so we've got some of their new carrying cases, battery straps. So they're really excited to be pitching product here for this, and so we're really happy to have them on as an official sponsor.
Will there be product vendors about as well, or?
So Hello Real, they do a bunch of like VR accessory stuff. They're going to have a booth there to demonstrate, some of their product and just some of the things that they provide. And also, I don't know how far of a capacity this is because this came on just very, very recently. But Pico is going to have a presence of some sort. That's still just kind of being hammered out though. So
Okay, that's a good start.
Pico is taking the role of Kool-Aid Man. They're just bursting through the door going, "We're here. Nice to meet you.
Here we come.
Take our product, try us out." I feel like a year ago Pico was much more whispers, and now it's like,
Oh, it's already happening.
they're present. They're coming out strong. It's remarkable to see how much the industry of VR is growing, and events like this, esports conventions. That's
I think
part of that
esports
growth.
and we've talked about it on other episodes we've had, is like that was a direction we saw was viable for VR. So
Depending on the game that you're playing, you might need to be a legit athlete. Like you might need to be in shape if you want to actually,
yeah,
have some success.
no, I totally agree. So I'm just like, I'm liking this whole concept.
Mm-hmm.
The
And
more I hear about it.
And have both of you been a part of the company since the start, or when did you guys get involved?
So like I said, I came on during our first big event in 2020. So I've been here for about 2 years now.
yeah, and then I started just last December, so hit my 10 months just the other day. And so I've been here since we've been planning this event. But
Nice. And how long have you guys been involved in VR in
That was
some
gonna
way?
be my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
So
You didn't stumble into the convention,
So it's funny enough, my first big purchase as a married man was technically right before we got married, but we decided to buy a PSVR. So that would have been like, about March, April 2017. And I've been kind of in love with VR since then. So yeah, I when I worked at the radio station, I brought it in, got several hosts to try it because I wanted them to put it on their socials and stuff. And so I've been in VR for a while. Like I've been invested in seeing it grow and enjoying it.
And as for me, I hit my 10 months just a couple days ago. No, I wasn't really into VR too much before working with VAL. I played like 2D games a lot more. And then yeah, I started working here and just I really like it. I'm not great at it still, I'll admit. But I've been having a lot of fun getting to play it and get used to it.
Competitive VR is definitely its own animal, like a reference. We've been playing Pop 1 since it came out, but
we still get wiped.
I have fun. I have a lot of fun. I'll smile, I'll laugh, but I'm not winning every round, that's for sure.
I outright suck at shooters. I am terrible at them, and I acknowledge this. Like I will get rolled by just about every 10-year-old with a controller.
The 10-year-old's the worst one. That's my biggest fear. I feel
Yeah.
if I knew my opponent was 40, I'd feel comfortable, you know?
That's not nice.
Yeah.
There's always that fear when proximity chat comes on and it's the little squeaky 10-year-old's voice. You're like, oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
That's happened to us in the Wizards game there.
In Wands, you go
Wands.
to wipe out a squad of them, and then you go into the loading, and you're like, oh man, it was a bunch of little kids. That's the one game I can beat little kids in is Wands Alliance.
Not Pop 1 though.
No, not Pop 1. And what's cool about you guys having Among Us there, besides the fact that it's the first time that people are actually going to get to try Among Us for the majority of them, I mean, let's be real. The big question a lot of people have with Among Us is how's the experience going to be if it's flooded with little kids in VR with voice chat? Whereas I don't think that'll be the case at your convention. I have a feeling you're not going to see a bunch of 5-year-olds running around and stuff. So not only do you get to try Among Us, you're going to get to try it with,
Adults.
an actual mature crowd. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I don't know if we'd call us a mature crowd,
Yeah.
but definitely an older one.
Yes. All of us have
No,
made
it'll be
appropriate
really fun.
rotations around the sun,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And
So
that's
you mentioned that you're not too good at shooters. When it comes to VR, what type of games do you like to play, Nate?
I mean, I will play shooters, but mostly like single player ones. Like it's multiplayer shooters I just really suck at because I just can't compete. I do a lot of like real VR fishing because that's sort of my zen calm. I need to de-stress because my boss is driving me up a wall game. Which Hala can attest to. That's a fairly common feeling around here sometimes. But I mean, basically, I'll try just about anything that shows up in front of me. So
No, VR fishing's legit.
Yeah, that could even be an esport one. Who gets the biggest catch of the day,
Biggest fish.
we actually did a tournament for them with our Winter Games this last year.
Oh, geez. How did that go?
Pretty well. It was actually one of our better received tournaments in company history. So like what it was we had people submit they initially fished for like the Dolly Varden on like the Idaho Lake, and we took the top 6 entries for weight on that one, and then or weight or inches, whatever the big measurement is there. And then from there, we split it up and we did kind of like a fishing derby style of like whoever caught the most white sea bass for the semifinals, and then it was whoever caught the most bluefin tuna for the finals. So,
oh man, there's so much potential. I never, as soon as we started talking about it, I was like, real VR fishing, is such a good viable option. But before we went into this talk, I wasn't sitting there with a list of possible.
I'm thinking
esport
golf
games.
now. I'm like, you could have golf tournaments.
Walkabout Mini Golf is going to be there, and we've done tournaments for them too.
Wow.
Walkabout is Mighty Coconut is the best.
Yeah, Mighty Coconut.
We've-
Top Golf is amazing too.
we've
Or,
interviewed
Golf
it.
Plus. Geez, I'm still.
Yeah, Golf Plus is great.
But yeah, like you were saying, we've interviewed a couple of the Mighty Coconut people, and they're very receptive of.
They're a power team.
Yeah.
The whole company is made up individually of literally the best of the best that they could get from any like Don used to be a Disney Imagineer and all this. I mean,
And it's cool to see all these developers.
Lucas has the contacts with. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing company.
Yeah.
Well, and kind of building off that, like segueing to a great point here as well with the convention is that earlier this year, Mighty Coconut actually set us up with a Dave and Buster's connection. And so like we ran an event for them in Austin where we were doing like just a small little local Dave and Buster's tournament because they want to expand out more into VR as well. And so, one thing's led to another from that, and they're actually an official sponsor of this event as well as, some of the other ones we've got lined up. So
Nope, just to test it. I'm not shocked at all.
Yeah,
I really am not. I'm like, they're an amazing company.
VR isn't going anywhere. You're starting to see the corporate sponsors, the corporate people get interested.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even Buster's
Well,
going.
people are starting to realize it's it's holding true. It's not going away. It's growing. It's becoming, not mainstream yet, but it's getting to that point where
when the places like Dave and Buster's are going, hey, we want to go a little
we
bit
want
more.
in.
I mean, come on, it's gotten some attention.
Yeah.
So that's freaking
That's
that's
huge.
awesome. Geez, what other games have you guys done in the past for esports
I was
tournaments?
curious as
Oh
myself.
boy.
now.
Let's see. So the first game I actually ever casted when I came here was Until You Fall, which we did speedrun tournaments on that, which is really cool because we had Dwayne and another person from Shell on the cast as well, and we were just chatting about the game. But then we had all three of the finalists, in mixed reality setup, so it was like really really cool to watch that. We did a tournament for like the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Meat Grinder, um, Swordsman VR. Oh gosh, a long list. We did one for Resville Player. It was Player 22 at the time. Uh, you're gonna put me right on the spot like that. I'm not
No,
gonna
no,
remember
you
everyone.
no
Honestly-
worries. No, I love.
Honestly, you've listed off more than you even needed to.
Yeah, the
11 Table Tennis. We've actually done tournaments for them twice. That's another one.
Okay.
And Racket NX.
those sound, dude. Swordsman VR. How did that work? That one sounds real exciting.
So the Swordsman team was great. Like Alec and Amir and
Yep.
everyone that we spoke to over there. They actually did some of their own back end dev work to build up like a unique experience for what they called the Hellfire tournament. And so like it was a completely new experience for their community to take part in this whole thing. And it was actually really cool to watch them all kind of rally together. That was actually, I think for that tournament alone, we had over 200 submissions for just the qualifiers.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite App Lab games by far.
No,
That's
and they're over perfectionists, so it doesn't shock me at
Well,
all that they would.
Here's kind of the funny thing is that this was prior to them getting on App Lab. Everyone who did this was Steam VR or PSVR.
Wow.
yeah.
So it was even before they made it to Quest.
I'm curious how big they have to be one of the bigger App Lab games at
Yeah.
this point. And Alec and Amir are both really cool people. We had them on the podcast. They
I
had
almost wore their sweatshirt today.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
they had some cool stories about, they almost shut down in 2019 and they pushed through it, and Swordsman VR was kind of like their last ditch effort as a studio in VR together, and they've
It
had
worked.
some success.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it worked.
No, it's worked. They've made a masterful game. It's beautiful.
and they
So-
still have more updates coming. They just relaunched their hand to hand. It's really
So,
cool.
are these going to be streamable events that people can watch
Yeah.
if they're not at the event? If they're like, I want to see this Pop One tournament go down.
So, yeah, Holly, yeah, you go ahead and answer that. You're more involved.
Yeah, so we got a few live streams going on. We're gonna have The Walking Dead on Halloween. That one is gonna be on our Twitch channel, ValVR_esports, as well as the influencers channels that are gonna be streaming. And then we're also gonna have Among Us on November 4th, and that one again, our channel and the influencers. And then yeah, on Saturday, November 5th, you're going to be able to watch the Epic Roller Coasters finals, the Pop One finals, and then we also have a Knock League going on right now. And those finals, they're not going to be at the in-person event, but the finals are the same day as the event. And so if we're able to get the tech figured out with our players, then we will have that streaming on our channel as well. So yeah, you're going to be able to watch all that stuff on ValVR_esports.
We are excited to announce our newest Ruff Talk VR podcast sponsor, VRlist.xyz, a marketplace for VR talent that just launched April this year and already has over 100 members as of October. At VRlist.xyz, they believe the metaverse will usher in new opportunities for all those who partake in it. With that, they asked a simple question: how can you find VR creators? Unhappy with the results they found, it was time to take things into their own hands. They've embarked on a journey to simplify how those looking for VR services can connect with those who supply them. VRlist.xyz is an open marketplace for VR creators, instructors, entertainers, and proprietors to proudly showcase their talents and spaces to potential clients. And with already over 100 vendors listed, including Stratus and yours truly, VRlist.xyz is quickly becoming the premier VR talent marketplace. Again, that's VRlist.xyz to find the right VR talent for your needs.
Hey everyone, welcome to Fresh Ball Fall. It's the season of pumpkin spice and making sure your crotch looks nice. That means sipping cider in the fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. That's right, today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shedding its excess leaves. Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose the excess clutter for fall. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code Ruff Talk VR. Whether you're brand new or already with us at Manscaped, you could use the crown jewel of care for your family jewels, the Platinum Package 4.0. With this glorious package, you can align your entire hygiene routine all in one swoop. Inside the 10 Platinum Package is everything you know and love about the Performance Package, plus some shower goodies included to elevate your grooming game to platinum. The Lawnmower 4.0 body trimmer and Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer feature proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to protect your delicate parts and holes. Both are waterproof so you can keep scaping even as the weather's change. In addition to shaving, you can now completely upgrade your shower routine with the Ultra Premium Body Wash and Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo plus Conditioner. You'll have your skin and hair feeling hydrated and smelling fresh. Don't forget to apply their aluminum-free ultra premium deodorant, and don't worry, it's not pumpkin spice, it's a cologne quality fragrance. But we shouldn't have a signature scent for our pets. Use Crop Preserver, Ball Deodorant, and Crop Reviver, Ball Toner to make sure your go-to smell is top shelf and not sweaty balls. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts for their Platinum Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and Shed Travel Bag, both specifically made to hold your goodies. Get the Platinum Package this fall. These products are guaranteed to be hits for your dangly bits. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code RuffTalkVR. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the code RuffTalkVR. Manscaped, clear out the leaves. It's your tree trunk's time to shine.
I have a feeling Knock is going to be such an entertaining one to watch.
That'd be funny to watch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That and Ultimax too would be I know you guys don't have it today, but those type of soccer games I feel like are actually be some of the most spectator friendly ones. So Knock's intense, dude.
Yeah. Oh no. I'd work up a sweat.
That goes back
No doubt.
that goes back to the point that you might have to start to see, the people who take first, you got to have some cardio to take first,
Oh yeah.
It's not going to be like just, moving your thumbs around. You're
No,
stressing.
Pop one maybe not. VR fishing maybe not, but some of the other ones, yeah, definitely.
VR fishing, you'll do the opposite of sweating.
But you'll have that stress of wanting to get. So yeah, even though it's fishing, you'll still have some probably rapid heartbeat a little just from the whole competitive nature of it.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty impressed. So outside of just doing these conventions, then the I'll say the other bread and butter has really just been hosting tournaments for different events.
Kind of yes and no. We tended to at this point not go for tournament stuff that's a standalone, just cause unless they've got a big enough community. Just because we find that it doesn't perform quite as well unless it's attached to an event. So most of what we do is a lot of influencer marketing these days. But that's not to say that we don't do tournaments and whatnot. Like we did, for example, after our Fit Summit, we did a tournament for Cradle of Sins, which that's an interesting game. And that's what I'll say. Leave it at that. But I mean that went off rather well. I mean, Pesky Cashew came in and won, as was to be expected. But no, like we'll do a lot of influencer marketing with just different VR studios and companies. We've recently worked on the launch campaigns for like Twilight Zone VR, Altair Breaker, Nerf. Last year, actually, we worked with Ubisoft and Zero Latency to do the rollout for Far Cry VR, which, we got Thrill Seeker and LS Toast out to Reno for that, and it was, just this great experience. And, we heard back from both of them saying that was the best experience they've had for a VR rollout, like, ever. So, in terms of publicity and hype and everything.
That's awesome. And Twilight Zone VR was really good. I know you loved it, and you love Twilight Zone.
Oh, yeah.
So
developer's cool, dude.
Yeah, Douglas. We spoke with Douglas, the founder of Fun Train, who published the game. They weren't the developers, but still publishing is a huge aspect of it. Douglas was one of the more fun interviews we had. We ended up vibing for like an hour about his background. And
yeah, Doug's a good guy. We've enjoyed working with him so far.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun, to say the least. So it's really cool seeing how receptive all these development companies are to working with you guys. I mean, overall, has it been a little bit easier to get these type of connections get going than you would have thought? You know, you wouldn't think that it's so easy or anything like that to get developers on board, but based even on our experience of getting interviews and everything like that, the VR community is like, yeah, tell me when attitude, you know?
So a large part of that is just that one thing we keep hearing is these developers feel like they have no idea on marketing by and large. Like 90% of the people we talk to are just like, I don't know what I'm doing with marketing. Or like we have no idea because there's so few big studios that are putting the money into it. So when we come and we're just like, hey, we do marketing, we do influencer marketing, they immediately jump on it most of the time. Even if we don't end up necessarily working with them, they usually at least will take a meeting just because they want to hear out, like what is there to offer, what's the VR influencer marketing scene like, and we'll do everything from like small contracts, just like just really tiny ones, all the way up to, like I said, Twilight Zone, Altair Breaker, Nerf, where you've just got huge corporate backing and stuff.
I,
So.
I think it's especially important because, like, if you're going, we'll say, the app lab route, where you really are self-marketing your product, it's like if you don't know how to do that, we've seen it in other senses where, developer might have a great product, but they don't have a community manager. And they're trying to do this all themselves, and you can see the effect that it has.
They're taking criticisms too personal, or
yeah, they're
Exactly.
putting their business where it doesn't belong. Personally, from like you're a developer, that's what you should do. You shouldn't be focusing on the social media aspect of it. So it's cool to know that people can, if they're interested. I'm imagining they can get in touch with you and start marketing their product or learn how to market their product.
Yeah, we've come to the the realization most of the VR games we love are 5 and under people. Like there's a very small team, so to have most of them don't have marketing background. It's normal. Most of them don't have,
which makes sense because they're programming this product. Not the marketing is probably something that people aren't thinking of at the start of it to go. This is going to be on us. Meta's not going to come and hold our hand and go, this is how you market your game. You have to do it and prove yourself. So.
Yeah, well, and so many of them are just hoping that it gets picked up and on some video that people get interested in, some influencer just takes it from there, and it just grows. And the fact of the matter is that it's really, really hard to have that kind of luck happen. Like Julian over at Smash Drums, like we talked to him when he was still really small and like side quests and whatnot, and like just one man shop, and his game has gone viral because of the fact like BMF picked it up. Because and also it's just an extremely well-made game as well.
Oh no, it's fun.
Yeah, that's an important part of the equation. It has to be a good product, but it has to be presented well.
Yeah,
especially with, I think there's like
even when his was kind of early access only, it was still pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, but like one of my favorite VR games, actually probably my favorite game for VR, Battle Group VR, is it's a solo dev team, and it's gotten a little bit of traction because it's gotten picked up by like Mateo and a few others, but not the traction that it really kind of deserves, just because it's like they haven't hit that one influencer that's going to really take it and run.
No, makes total sense.
And like we just spoke with the team for the second time behind our Caxer, and they just moved the official store. That's a one-man team, but I felt like forever they were just this hidden gem.
2 people team.
Sorry, a 2-man team.
It's a 2-guy team.
I've always said, like, why is this game hidden? But I didn't really see anybody really, like you said, take it and run with it. But I think that's a game that as soon as people see what it has to offer, it's going to be easily one of the most popular on the store.
We actually did work with them last year when they were still on App Lab with getting them some influencer work with, I think it was like Disco VR and Soulfox. But yeah, they're both actually coming out to this. Like they're not participating in like a booth or anything, but they are coming out as developers to network and whatnot.
Hang out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. How could you not?
That's a great example of 2 people, a 2-man team, and they're doing such great work. I imagine it's so hard to dedicate time to marketing when you're making a whole game with 2 people.
Yeah, and it's not like theirs is a small. It's not a small project, and it continues to grow and is going to grow. And now, wink, wink. Our Caxer too.
Full like 20+ hour story on it. So some of the talent. In
there's
the
some good people coming out to this event.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that your first headset you used was the PlayStation VR. Is that still what you use, or do you have a new primary headset?
So my PSVR has kind of given up the ghost. I'm not sure what happened, but there's a short in the cable somewhere, and we've not been able to play it since like 2020 because I've just not really track down how to replace it. And I guess it involves like calling Sony or something. So we've not been able to use that, but we have 3 quests here at home. So, because I pre-ordered one, and then my wife was like, "You're gonna pre-order one, and then you're gonna get me one for our anniversary because I expect one." And then my youngest brother got one because he was an architect. He wanted to like use it to start doing architecture work and whatnot for building stuff. And then just realized how much work went into Unity, and he's like, "I just don't have time for it." And so my mom gave it to my wife as a birthday gift, and I'm just like, "Okay, we'll take a third one." So.
It's freaking awesome.
How do you feel as using the Quest in comparison to your initial love for the PlayStation VR? Do you love the Quest 2 as well, or is it does not scratch the same itch?
So there are pros and cons to it. I like the graphical interface, the higher quality that you get with the PSVR because you do have that hardline cable. Um, I also have the unfortunate disadvantage that most of my purchases of VR stuff was already on the PSVR, so I don't have access to a lot of that now. But so that makes me a little biased, and I'm really sad that I can't do Star Wars Squadrons on the Quest because like I grew up doing Rogue Squadron and whatnot. So like when that game came out, I was like I lost my mind when I found out it was going to be VR. Um, so like there are some pros to like the PSVR. I also like the way that the handles are held better, the responsiveness of them. Like for Beat Saber, it's a lot more natural than the way that it works for like the Quest, in my opinion. Um, the biggest thing that I like about the Quest and the thing that I think has made VR take off that it offers is that you break through uh, the barrier of everything has to be wired up. Once you make it self-contained, it is so much more accessible for people. Because the PSVR, I cannot tell you how many times I accidentally stepped on the cord. Because I rent, I can't put holes in the ceiling for like a cable apparatus. So, um, like for me, I'd step on the cord all the time. Whereas with the Quest, that's not an issue. And so that is the biggest plus for like the Quest 2 is that you once it becomes self-contained, it's so much more accessible. Um, and
And
beyond
even like
that,
cost wise, like my PC would run VR if I wanted it to, but like I also put a lot of money into my PC. A Quest is like what, $400, and then you're
yeah,
good to go.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is just like the PSVR was the cost of a PS4 in and of itself. The Quest, it's when I pre-ordered mine, it was $300. So it's cheaper than a current gen console, which is really kind of amazing to think about. And especially for how much you get, you literally go to a different reality.
Yeah, I remember because I've been a long time viewer of VR, I guess you could say, but exactly.
Yeah,
what
I
you
wasn't spending $4,000.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
the
Think I
reality of
might like it.
dropping, upgrading my PC up with $1,500, then buying a $900 head. It's just a $700. It wasn't happening. So when I
And the
saw,
wires.
yeah, I saw the Quest 2. I think I had it pre-ordered 2 days later.
I bought mine without even trying it.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it based on you saying that.
Yeah, and I didn't even try a Quest 2. I tried a Quest 1, and I was like,
Yep.
well, the Quest 2 is coming out, so I guess I'm going to get that.
I saw the price and I was like,
Sold.
well, it'll be here in 2 days.
And just that wow moment of putting on that headset for the first time
Dude,
is
my home screen, where you just like, it's nothing but your whatever environment, the
Mhm.
Your
default
lounge.
environment. I didn't even know you could change it for 20 minutes because I just stood in that and I was like, I can't believe I'm looking at this.
Yep. Do the same thing everybody does the first time. You look down at the hands, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, and I'm 50, so I remember Pong, just little square thing going across, and they'd call it tennis, and it's like it's really nothing. And then Atari, and to stand and put shit on, and it looks so damn good.
With no
Like you dream of this when you're a little kid.
Yeah, and you don't
Well,
need to
like
plug it in.
yeah, not to date myself too much, but I remember, like the Virtual Boy. The like Nintendo's at first attempt at virtual reality, where it was like, the headset, like on the tripod that you stared into, and it was like all red. Like, I've been interested in the idea of virtual reality since then, but like, it's actually real now, which is crazy.
Yeah, I'd seen some janky things at some shopping centers. I
Mhm.
think in the mid '90s that was supposed
Yeah.
to be VR, but it was essentially like black and white imagery, and it was strange. But
One of my cousins had a really shitty pixelated like motorcycle game, and you had these handles, and it was like literally they were putting a flat screen picture, just
In your
like
face,
up
yeah.
up close to your eyes, and it was like
No,
sold as VR.
VR's legit, and it's like all somebody has to do is put that headset on and find your experience. And because I always refer to like even games, a lot of them are more than just a game. It's like an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're feeling things you'll never get off of like flat screen gaming.
So
Yeah, well, just the immersiveness has come so far. Like with the PSVR worlds, for example. Like I used to put my friends and family through the shark experience. My mom, when she tried it, was cowering in a corner as the shark was getting closer, like actually screaming. I wish I had it on video. It was really
I was
fun.
just thinking, I'm like, I've seen some videos of people doing that. It always amazes me. People never take the headset off. But they will.
yeah, they'll scream, they'll
Scream,
react,
yell.
they'll run.
I have had a few take the headset off.
Yeah.
So.
Something that I miss, in the early days of using VR. Like I remember the first time I climbed the tower in the middle of Pop 1, my palms were sweating. Because the immersion when you're so new to it is so much higher.
The vertigo.
Yeah, I don't
Feel
get that
that.
same palm sweatiness, I guess you could say, but there's something really magical about that first.
Everything in VRs.
Yep.
So are you like kind of day one pre-order for the PlayStation VR 2? Or are you kind of...
I don't have a PS5 at the moment.
Me neither.
We're talking about picking one up, but that's like a big cost. So like right now it's like we either get Christmas or we get a PS5, and we're just deciding which one we want to go with. So
Kind of goes back to that Quest
You got
affordability.
three headsets though.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
That's
You can pull off a good party night.
right. And
Yep.
Hala, you mentioned you were a little bit more into flat screen gaming before. It's funny too, like
I heard Fortnite.
yeah.
I've only won once at that game.
What's been your kind of perception of VR since you've come over to the light
The
side? I'll
VR
say?
world.
Yes, to the VR world, to the dark side.
Yeah, for sure. That's like I really do like the Quest 2 that it's totally self-contained because that's, I grew up playing like the Wii, the DS, definitely console gaming. And so that was kind of like when I was like, oh, VR is essentially console gaming. Like I thought that was pretty cool. And then I'm definitely like Valorant is my heart and soul, and Nate will be able to attest to how much I talk about Valorant. But
she doesn't stop.
That's actually why she
you
started
push
to
that
work
button.
here because it's
Yeah,
called
you push
Val.
that button, it will not. She'll just keep going.
Exactly. But so I'm really, really excited for X8 to come out because X8 is like Valorant except for a little bit cooler. Because I just think the way that they are implementing the VR just looks so cool. Just the way, the hand movements to use your different abilities, just the space of it. I'm ecstatic for X8. I can't wait for that to come out.
Which is another title that's going to be here.
That is
So.
true. Yeah, we're gonna have third verse there, but yeah, so I'm really excited about that, and I think like just I really had a fun time getting used to like what VR really is. Like every time I get into like big screen or Netflix and I just like can lay there and watch TV and it's like right there, but it feels like I'm in like a movie theater. I just think the little details like that are so fun, and like you were talking about being in the home environment for the first time, and I got my Quest on like it was a really snowy day, and for some reason I'd left my window open, so it was like freezing cold in my room, and I like put on the headset and I had like the winter, like the ski resort home screen, and I literally just sat there. I was like, you could convince me that this is real life. Like you could tell me that I was not wearing a VR headset and that this is real life. I would believe you wholeheartedly. And I think that that's just it's so cool to me.
One of the things we've noticed with people who are involved in VR is the passion. It's like you can just hear it every time you talk about it, or even if it's just the home screen experience. There's a passion that exists.
Well, you're definitely not getting into the world of VR for the money right now.
No, I don't think anybody was initially jumping into it going, and that's what makes the people that have done it and are currently doing it, probably the most important, because they're proving to people it's a viable market.
Mm-hmm. Andy, like you said, you hear the passion in it. It's like, look, this is something that we use. This is something we love.
Never heard somebody in the business complain how shitty the business is.
Mm-hmm.
Just having fun, and obviously this team's having a blast doing what I know you guys are. The CEO is probably pushing everybody hard and maybe makes a decision in an hour, but hey, it's all to improve,
good
right?
fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in case any of our listeners swing by the event, are they going to see you two there in person as well? Are you guys going to be using the booths or
They'll see me in person at least. Hala might be Hala's gonna be a little more sus, so
Okay, they'll see me. I will be in an Among Us costume for
I
a
was gonna
portion
say
of the
there's a
event.
costume. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'll mostly be running the esports table. Nate'll kind of just be around doing whatever I tell him to do. And so I'm the one that gets to make the schedules for the event. But yeah, you'll definitely see us. You'll get to meet kind of all our coworkers. You'll get to meet Ryan, our CEO. So it'll be really fun. I love meeting our players. It's so much fun. So that's like I love hanging out with everybody on Discord. I can't wait to hang out with everybody in real life.
That's awesome. And it sounds like you're quite a big Among Us fan. I kind of got that impression in the beginning.
I think it's really cool that we're working with them. I honestly have not played that much Among Us. I was a little too old for the craze.
Oh,
So I
come
I
on.
played it.
Too old?
Okay.
I'm older than you. I'm significantly older than you. I turn 36 next week, and I've
Okay,
I've
sorry.
played a lot
Maybe it
of
wasn't
it.
age. Maybe it wasn't age. Maybe it was just my friend group's preferences. We
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
play
over
a
here.
lot
I'm
of it.
26, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was definitely for the kids. Yeah. Mhm.
You played it
Yeah.
a whole bunch.
Yeah, I like it was a good pandemic game with your friends,
No, it's fun. Yeah, it is fun. I'm not like a super fan, but I mean maybe I will be once it's in VR. And I
Once
think
you're
it's
in
cool.
costume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once I'm in costume, I gotta be a super fan.
I will say it's a lot different to play Among Us VR in the actual headset, like for the actual Among Us, rather than just like the VR chat mod. Because that was interesting. All the 8 and 12-year-olds just with the voice modification and the screaming and whatnot, and I'm just like, my gosh, this is miserable.
That's why I definitely think one of the coolest things is that it's going to be, most likely a
Yeah,
mature
I
in
even-
age, at least, audience.
Even after sale, I anticipate it's going to be more of that adult audience, believe it or not.
I hope so. I
Because
think
it's
that's
not, there's some complexity involved in it. So
Mhm.
I think
Well,
they've made
and
it just complex enough to kind of weed out the smallest.
on the difference between like doing it on VR chat where someone had made a like really well done mod, admittedly, but just the mod still is that you could still do flat screen there. There's not a lot of kids that have access to Quest 2 just yet.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So.
because 13 plus only.
And well, you'd hope.
Quote,
And-
wink,
yeah.
wink.
And not for nothing, Among Us, I believe, was free when it came out on the App Store and everything like that. I'm very happy to see that there's going to be a very small, but I think necessary price tag that I
Mhm.
think is going to help make the audience people who actually want to enjoy the game.
Yeah,
So,
the price tag's
Yeah.
no, not at all.
Nor is the admission to this event.
Right. And again, you can use code word Ruff Talk VR, knock a nice hefty discount off of there.
That's huge.
I know you guys must be so busy with the event coming up, so definitely we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and kind of hype things up a bit. But before we wrap this baby up, is there anything about the event that we didn't go over that maybe you want to talk about?
I mean, the only thing that I would say is that like if you are a student and you're in the Salt Lake area or nearby and you're doing game design or have an interest in it, this is a perfect networking opportunity. VR is still such a small community that like if you meet with a developer at a convention, chances are you email them and they're going to remember you. As opposed to like something like AWE or GDC where it's like they meet thousands of people. This is a perfect opportunity to come out, learn about the industry, learn about the network with people about what they want, what they're looking for. If honestly, for the price and what you can do for your career, you'd be insane not to try for it. Just based on the networking alone. So.
And I want to hit on, we didn't get too much into it, but Dave & Buster's, we're having arcade night on Friday, November 4th. So that's going to be super fun. We're going to pack up after the Among Us conference. We're going to head to the Dave & Buster's. It's like 1 minute away. And yeah, we're just going to, then we can actually, maybe I'll be able to actually beat somebody at a arcade game. I don't know if I'll beat anybody at a VR game, but maybe an arcade game. I'm good at skee ball. But that'll be really fun. And yeah, hope to see you guys there.
Yeah, I definitely want to give you both and the rest of your team a lot of credit for pulling this off because it sounds like it's really going to be a good event.
Yeah,
and I agree. If you want to, if you're at all interested in getting involved in VR, I mean, for the price of this,
Yeah.
for what the end result to your future could be is it's pretty ridiculous.
Even just in general, even if not from a professional standpoint, just to meet all the people there, it sounds like a really cool social opportunity as well.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. The whole thing to me, it's more about the networking and in my head than it would be for. But the fact that you also have esports going on as well is pretty.
And you have quite a hefty background with event management as well, so you know how much headaches go into these type of things. It's not snap your fingers and it all gets together. There's a
lot to do.
I'm still. I'll be honest. I am still terrified. There's one small little thing that I have not thought about that's gonna throw a wrench in everything.
Trash bags, Nate. We need to buy the trash bags.
Right, trash
no, Gateway is already providing those. We're going.
First aid kits, everything.
So
there's always something. So no, I definitely, we know it's no easy feat. We can't make any promises on air or anything like that. Hopefully, something, the world goes good and we can head down there. Of course, our life is pretty busy right now. We just moved into a podcast studio 4.0.
If we get the Patreon support, I'd go.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
But hopefully this isn't the last year we see you do it, and I think it's going to become quite the looked forward to event in the world of VR.
Event to go to.
Absolutely.
That's what we're hoping for.
Make Salt Lake City the place for VR.
Home of VR.
So, Nate, Hala, thank you guys for taking the time with us. That was great. I look forward to seeing how this whole event goes, and definitely for any of our listeners, if you're in that area, go check out
definitely check it out.
Yeah, check out the show note. You'll find the link right in there, the episode description. Use code word Ruff Talk VR and go have a good time. Awesome. So, hope you all enjoy this episode and check you out next week.